successful. Jack, your multispectral shielding should now be more resistant to radiation. Please note, however, that contact with biomass will still drain it just as rapidly as before.
Understood. Thank you, Juno.
Of course. Careful, Jack. There's another form of the biomass nearby. You may have seen them before. Elongated structures with an affinity for spore dispersion.
Indeed, cysts. Their rapid regrowth, even after bursting, makes them particularly dangerous. Maintaining a safe distance is usually the best course of action.
Shields at 50%. Shields at 30%. The stasis projection technology will be simpler to adapt than previously anticipated. If you scan one more cargo drone, I believe I will have enough data to complete your new tool. Shields at 95%. Charging dock restored. Jack, now that we've completed optimizing your shield's radiation resistance, I'm afraid there's nothing more to be gained from the dock's data.
What's the point of an advanced network of semi-autonomous recharge stations if you can't count on them to calculate impressive optimizations for you?
I believe you are correct, Captain. The distributed computing power of the charging docks could be put to greater use.
Yes. That's precisely what I meant. Go on.
I have tasked the charging docks with developing a means for allowing Jack's shield to self-regenerate. The wealth of empirical data they have collected on recharging should prove invaluable to the process.
Then I presume additional data scans would be of value after all.
Indeed. Please continue scanning any docks you may find. The additional computing power of more active units would be advantageous as well.
Copy that.
Dr. Harlan, what was your purpose in attempting to salvage the Estrella? The odds of my ship's components being compatible with yours seems unlikely.
It wasn't the hardware I was after. Your ship was the original source of the infestation. I'd hoped to find an undetonated biomass torpedo amongst the wreckage. Use it to develop a cure for all this.
I understand, Doctor. Considering my current directives, I will provide any useful data that may help in your research.
Better late than never, I suppose.
How's it looking out there, Jack?
Manageable. How are your preparations going?
Quite well, actually. Just doing some light welding outside the ship. Juno's helping me get the intake systems ready for the materials we're gathering.
Are you sure you should be exerting yourself, given your current condition?
I can handle it. The The infection's still dormant, remember?
Assuming its status hasn't changed.
Believe me, when it goes active, she'll know.
Shields at 95%. Tool schematics complete. Please visit a fabricator to install your new tool jack. Most charging docks will have one nearby. Grip projector installed. To use your grip projector, simply point at a target, activate the projector, and direct it with your hand. Any sufficiently small piece of debris would be ideal to experiment on.
Impressive work, Juno. Apollo, will I be able to access the fuel cells now?
I believe so.
Good. Heading to the drive bay.
Shields at 95%.
I'm coming up on the drive bay now.
Warheads nearby, Jack. Please be mindful of their extreme radiation levels.
You won't be able to handle them directly, Jack. Maybe your new tool could help.
Warheads removed. Entry into the drive bay is now clear.
Copy that. Standing by.
Now heading for the fuel cells.
Great. We'll keep a working cargo drone on standby. Just look for a good fuel cell and we'll handle the rest.
Roger that. Apollo, do these controls operate the door?
Correct. To open the door, both controls will need to be engaged at the same time. Jack, the fuel cells are protected behind a large security door. You'll need to activate a pair of nearby controls to gain access.
I've gained access to the drive bay.
Wait, those pillars in the center, are those...
The Astrea's FTL drives, yes.
do they still work?
Theoretically. But unfortunately, they're of little use to us. With such a high concentration of biomass forms in this area, any attempt to remove one of the drives would prove futile.
Dr. Harlan, I'm noticing these ticks appear to be less evolved than those we've previously encountered.
Must have carried over from the last time jump. No doubt just as dangerous. I advise avoidance at all costs.
Jack, my monitoring systems are offline here. You'll need to manually inspect each fuel cell in order to determine its viability. Simply scan their data ports to get started.
Shields at 30%. Shields at 95%.
It's alright, Jack. Just stick to the outer walls and try to avoid touching any biomass.
I'm confused. Its AI pathing requires voice input?
What? No, You've got this, Jack. Don't worry, Doctor. If you run up against that many ticks, I'll be just as verbally encouraging.
Unfortunately, Captain Rhodes. Being organic, I am permitted far fewer errors in judgment.
Jack, the data ports you need to access are located on the storage units running along the room's perimeter.
The units may be covered in biomass, but the ticks seem to prefer the center of the room.
Fuel cell located.
Use the data port and I'll expose the cell for visual inspection. Jack, before we remove any fuel cells, you'll first need to check their condition. Access the data ports near the cells so I may expose them for your inspection. Exposing fuel cell for your inspection, Jack.
Empty. I'll have to keep looking.
Exposing fuel cell for your inspection, Jack.
Another empty cell.
Apollo, you're sure there's a good fuel cell there?
I never said I was sure, Captain Rhodes. It's simply the most likely location on my ship to contain a viable fuel cell, if any were remaining.
Right. If any remaining.
Accessing fuel cell.
This does not look good. These cells are all empty.
Jack, if you access the data ports beside the storage cells, I can open them to allow further examination. Exposing fuel cell for inspection.
Viable fuel cell located. Hopefully enough to power Dr. Harlan's FTL drive.
Nicely done, Jack. I'm sending a drone your way.
Send 2.
What for? There's only one fuel cell.
Just trust me. Send 2.
Warning. Lead drone compromised.
Jack, what's going on?
The ticks swarmed the lead cargo drone.
And that is why you send 2.
I don't think we'll be using that one again.
Backup drone malfunctioning.
More ticks. The lead drone is disabled, but the backup still has a chance.
Pesky bastards, aren't they?
I'll clear them off. Cargo drone cleared.
Acknowledged. Thank you, Jack. Resuming flight. Drone is in place to collect the cargo. Shields at 95%.
Jack, I've activated the release controls on the fuel cell.
Fuel cell released.
Cargo secured. Ready for departure.
Excellent. The fuel cell still needs to be latched into place once it arrives, Jack. The honor's all yours, if you like.
I'll take care of it, Liv. I'd prefer to see the job through to the end anyway.
Okay, great. We'll see you in a bit.
Cargo drone returning in T-minus 10 seconds.
Better grab on or stay clear, Jack.
If you wish to return now, I advise taking hold of the drone. Cargo drone departing in 3, 2, 1. Firing thrusters.
The fuel cell is clear of the drive bay.
Great. We'll have some cargo clamps ready to receive it here. surprised to see welders haven't changed all that much in 400 years.
That design is actually from a historical archive. It was the standard for most of the 23rd century. I'm afraid it's the closest approximation to a welder I could fabricate. I hope it's acceptable.
Perfectly adequate, Juno. Thank you.
Cargo inbound to destination. Decreasing speed for final descent.
Looking good, Cowboy Jack. Steady as she goes. Hookup controls are over near the cargo clamps.
Fuel cell in place and ready to be secured.
All you, Jack.
How will this fuel cell interface with the rest of the technology here?
We've made some modifications on the receiving end, but ultimately what matters is that it can produce a strong enough burst of power to jumpstart the FTL reaction.
A duty it should fulfill admirably. At least, for a single jump.
These units were used to refuel ships.
Yeah, input only now though. We got them hooked up to take in the contents of the gear you're collecting. Once we have both the fuel cell and the biomass container hooked up, we'll use these to route what we need to where we need it.
We are becoming quite skilled in bringing order to chaos.
Seems like we were built for this kind of work, huh?
Indeed. Fuel cells secured.
Copy that. I guess you'll be heading to the research facility then.
That is where we'll be able to acquire a contained biomass sample, correct?
Indeed. I'll provide further details once you're on site.
Copy that.
Optimizations were being tested on this cargo drone's maneuvering thrusters. Assuming other drones were testing similar optimizations, scanning their data ports should allow me to reverse engineer the concept and apply it to your own maneuvering thrusters, making them more energy efficient.
Copy that. I'll see what I can do.
Excellent. I'll add a tracker to your data tab. Verifying. This drone was also being tested with maneuvering thruster optimizations. Keep searching for more when you can, Jack.
Acknowledged.